there is difference between Ahmadism and Shi'ism. But you may trace the roots of the two sects to one problem. And what is the problem? When we were discussing the tripod upon which Islam rests the other time, we gave you 3 legs, isn't it? The Book of Allah, the second, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the third, the understanding of these same companions whom the Shiites have written off. If you want to go out of the fold of the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ, one major thing you have to do is to disconnect yourself from the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. That was the problem of the Shia. وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمْ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. I think I emphasized on this verse in our last meeting. For you to know that it is not sufficient for you to believe in Allah. It is also not sufficient for you to say you believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah adds the third part. وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And that person chose for himself a path different from the path of the companions, like the Shias have done. نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى. Will just leave him to face whatever he has chosen for himself, meaning will abandon him with that thing. وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمْ. Even as he prayed and fasted, that will not prevent us from making him an inmate of fire. وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. The same way the Ahmadis. You know the error of the Ahmadis? They want to interpret the Quran and Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, but they have also failed to avail themselves of the valuable interpretations of the companions. That is the only thing that has given them the license to interpret the Quran so whimsically that they can find a basis for their Ahmadism in the Quran. Are you with me? It is clear cut. ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين. Ahmadism essentially is about a group of people who believe that certain Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is another prophet after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They still claim to be Muslims. And let me tell you one of their jokers, with which they deceive. An Ahmadi will tell you, we also believe that the Prophet is Khatamun Nabiyyin. In fact, it is even, they will tell you that they believe that the Prophet is When they speak of Khatamun Nabiyyin, listen to them, watch carefully. They will not translate Khatamun Nabiyyin. They will say it in Arabic, in whatever language they are speaking. If it is Yoruba, agbàgbọ́ pé Ànábì ni Khatamun Nabiyyin. Gẹ́gẹ́ bọ́lá ń ṣe sọ́nù Quran kó wọ́n á dẹ̀ quote the verse. If they are speaking English, they will not say Khatamun Nabiyyin in English, but they'll quote it in Arabic. Because they have their own interpretation for that, they will not say they believe that the prophet is the seal of the prophets. Because to them, Khatam is another Arabic word for ring. That ring is symbolic of beautification. So Allah has called the prophet Khatamun Nabiyyin, meaning a beautification and adornment among the prophets. Meaning that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the best of all prophets, the greatest of all prophets, and they'll be saying he's the only one that Allah speaks of. Ma arsalnaka illa rahmatan lil alamin. They'll be quoting verses of excellence of the Prophet ﷺ, that they believe in all that. But that is not the issue. Do they also believe that this Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is also a prophet and messenger after the Prophet ﷺ? Just put that to them directly. Then you'll be saying, you see, and then, no, it's not like that. You see, it is like, look, whatever is true is never far-fetched. Anything that you ask, that your way to it is not a direct way. Please question it. The Ahmadis, apart from not believing that the Prophet is the seal of the Prophet, or that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is also another prophet after the Rasul Sallallahu, which we say is in contravention of the clear text of the Quran, as understood by the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu. You see why we emphasize on this companion? if I have an Ahmadi here, I will only put a task up to him. Show me one companion of the Prophet ﷺ who has expressed a belief in the possibility of another prophet after the Rasul. That is just it. Because when a matter is a doctrinal matter, you can never understand it as much as those who are privileged to have witnessed the era of generation. It should only be corrupted as the days go by. And it can only be more authentic. The closer it is to the source, the more authentic it is. But whoever wants to go astray, that's the first thing. You can be reading the Quran and you can be postulating, toying and playing with grammar or whatever, to be synthesizing meanings that have never been synthesized by anyone, meanings where you don't even have any predecessor in it, you can do that. But where we'll have to cage you is that, well, as brilliant as this postulation, just tell us one person in the first generation that has ever held the belief in the possibility of another prophet. That verse was understood by 100% of the companions without exception. That there will be no prophet after the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then they'll be saying, no, Ghulam Ahmad does not come with any new Sharia. He has only come to explain. What is he explaining? Taraktu fikum amrayni lan tadillu ma in tamassaktum bihima. The Prophet had promised us will never go astray if we have held on to the Quran and Sunnah. On account of that, they fell into part of their errors. All this, Jesus is not coming back. It's also part of the beliefs of, because he had at one time claimed to be the promised Mahdi. At some other time in the course of his writing, he was the Messiah that was coming back. And when that also failed, he declared a different thing. You can even see inconsistency in his claims. The Ghulam Ahmad will tell you about the Ahmadis. Let me be more precise. They will tell you Nabi Isa alayhi salam had a human father. Go and read the commentary of Muhammad Ali, the same brother of Abdullah Yusuf Ali. They were both Ahmadis in origin before Yusuf Ali saw the light and left Ahmadism. Even if you still read through the original writings of Abdullah Yusuf Ali, you know now it has undergone several reviews by him in person and even by authorities after him. Saudi Arabia carried out a holistic overhaul of his translation at some time, which is commissioned to some scholars. You will see traces. Muhammad, did I say? Ali was arguing that when Maryam was saying, Ya laytani mitu qabla hadha, wa kuntu nasiyan mansiya. When she was expressing the pain of childbirth and was saying, how I wish I had died before now, so that I would have even been something forgotten. Muhammad Ali was commenting, if the pregnancy of Maryam was from a source other than the same source from which other women had their pregnancy, then his experience would have been different. So if she could have gone through the same labor, that is an indication that she had had her pregnancy from the same source. So to the Ahmadis, wa Maryam allati asanat farjaha, it means she did not commit fornication. But Joseph the carpenter actually did that thing with Maryam. And of course, if you read through some writings of Christianity as well, you see indications, genealogy of Jesus Christ ended on what? Son of Joseph. So this is where all the confusion lies. After the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there is no any messenger. You only need to read the Quran and read the hadith and you see, this is also one of the areas. Because the Shiism would have to concoct lies and attribute it to their imams, they also disregarded all the companions and they disregarded thousands or hundreds of thousands of hadiths reported by them. There is also a reason for that. I'm sorry if there is anyone who is an Ahmadi here. Ahmadism is also a deviation that is fundamental. No Muslim is ever in need of any source of guidance after Muhammad except whom? Muhammad. Lẹ́yìn Ànábì náà ló kàn. Read the Quran, study the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, follow the explanation of the scholars, and you will be guided. If today I also come to declare to you that I had some voice and I also saw a particular light and I've also been chosen, know that it is also the same trend. So many people have laid claim to such in the history. Ghulam Ahmad is one of the impostors of our time. His writings have also proven him as such. The inconsistencies in his claims and the blunt collusion he has also had with several verses and hadiths of the Quran on issues that are fundamental is also another proof. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.